Now I would like to give the floor to our Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Transportation, Mr. Grozdan Karadjov. I had the opportunity to introduce you already, but he would probably mention more about the challenges that Bulgaria is facing in terms of connectivity, modernization of infrastructure, because this government inherited a lot of problems. And I would be really glad to hear how we are going to solve all of them, or at least part of them. Mr. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear organizers, Mr. Stanishev, Mrs. Stanisheva, I don't see her right now, but thank you very much for the invitation. Also, thank you very much for organizing this forum, on which it's really an honor for me to share our vision for the future of the transport sector in Bulgaria, but also on how this, where this sector finds itself on the road to sustainability and on the scale of economic growth of our country. Before saying a few words exactly on the topic of the conference, let me say that for one thing, we are in complete sync with Commissioner Tzitzikostas, who just spoke. And this is that Central and Eastern Europe, especially the countries Greece, Bulgaria, and Romania, we become nowadays the real crossroad of what's happening transport-wise in Europe. Bulgaria especially is situated in such a place where both the so-called middle road, the road that starts from Italy, passes on the verges of what used to be called Corridor 8. Actually, it still continues to be called Corridor 8, and it was Bulgarian initiative to bring that corridor on the map of the European Commission several years ago. This corridor has become extremely important because it's not only the corridor that links the Adriatic to the Black Sea. We must look even further. It's actually the road, the fastest and the shortest road that will take us all the way through Asia to the eastern parts of Asia, to the eastern ports of Asia. And the other corridors that became very important, especially with the war in Ukraine and the broken chains of deliveries, the broken chains of supply. The south to north corridors became of extreme importance. And they are important for two reasons. First of all, they are the shortest ways, which saves fuel, saves energy, and this, in this way, diminishes the impact of fossilized fuels into the overall ecology of the continent. But they also are very important in respect with the dual mobility. Dual mobility is also an answer to the question how vulnerable are we in Europe to various crises, including military crises. The security of Europe has, for many years, maybe decades, been underestimated, and it is time now in which Europe has to reconsider its security issues and has to strengthen especially its eastern flank. And this eastern flank constitutes of so many bottlenecks. Imagine even the links between Bulgaria and Greece are not very well developed. The links between Bulgaria and North Macedonia are hardly existing. We don't have a railway connection. We have a tiny road connection with them. We cannot talk about any military or other mobility. but also people cannot travel freely. The Balkan itself, the mountain of Stara Planina, it's a natural barrier, but we live in almost in the 22nd century, and can we let it be a transport barrier? No, we should start changing our plans and make the necessary tunnels, make the necessary passages so that fast and secure cargo and people can travel. The next obstacle is the river Danube, another natural obstacle. But it used to have 7 bridges during the Roman Empire and only 2 under the, let's say, I wouldn't call it the Brussels Empire, I would call it under the European Union ruling. So are we less capable? Are we more technologically advanced? Yes, we are. Are we more rich? Yes, we are. Still, we have 2 bridges on the Danube River, while we should have 3, 4, or even 5. In those years that we live, you can imagine the person in Nikopol, let's say, who's sitting on this end of the river, the Bulgarian, and he looks across the river, he can see his neighbor from the city across. But in order to go and shake hands, he must travel to Ruse, pass with his car through the bridge, and just go reach a few hundred meters away from him where he used to be. It would take him around 200 kilometers of travel. This is not normal. This is not okay. And this is the type of synchronization that we now have with the European Commission. And several weeks ago, we were with the representatives of Greece, the minister, myself, and the actually Secretary General of the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure of Romania. But we got a really good message for Bulgaria and for Greece. We all must cooperate into making at least 3 south to north legs through Bulgaria, through Greece, also through Romania, to be able to answer to the challenges of our time, to be able to answer also to what our people expect us to happen. We need to speed up the 3rd bridge on the Danube River, but we also need to agree on the 4th and the 5th and to start preparing for them. And for this, the Commissioner Dzikostas has handed out to each one of us a preliminary agreement, a preliminary text of agreement for a trilateral agreement on these specific priorities. So I believe now we are going to be searching for ways to finance these corridors all together, not just the 3 countries, but with the help of the European Commission, which is a completely different scenario. And now, if you allow me to go back to the topic of our conference, our efficient, reliable, and sustainable transport systems are essential. And they enable the movement of people and goods, they connect markets, they support trade, and they create jobs. For Central and Eastern Europe, countries like Bulgaria, transport connectivity is not just an economic enabler, it is a powerful driver of regional cohesion and development. And the modernization of our transport network is very central. As you very well know, we are developing in a fast manner the so-called TEN-T network, and we will continue to keep this as a national priority. We are In this context, the infrastructure along the TEN-T network must be developed to ensure seamless movement across borders through interoperability and common standards. 3 major transport corridors, as I've emphasized, cross Bulgaria, underscoring our strategic role in the network's implementation. However, Europe must also look beyond its internal borders. Our strategic interests demand deeper integration with the neighboring region. The Trans-Caspian International Transport Route, also known as the Middle Corridor, it offers a new trade opportunities linking Southeastern Europe with Central Asia and the Far East. For Bulgaria, connecting the TEN-T with this corridor is a national priority. Positioned on the EU's periphery and external border, Bulgaria holds a unique geopolitical role and a responsibility to strengthen Europe's connectivity with adjacent regions. This ambitious vision brings significant challenges. Public financial resources at the moment are very limited, while the infrastructure needs remain and continue to grow. That is why we strongly advocate for, as you know it, public-private partnership, or as it is envisioned in our law, the law of concessions, this in letting concessions in infrastructure projects. This is the so-called build, operate, transfer model. The government priority now is to let major infrastructure sites like highways, railroad tunnels, bridges, etc., to be let first to concession procedures, and only if we don't find partners and private financing for these public needs, only then we can go and search for European or national budget financing. The Ministry of Transport and Communication has for a long time been using these concession procedures, and as you know, 15 port terminals and 4 of our totally 5 airports are on concession. 1 intermodal terminal is also on concession. All of them, with great pride, I must report, are very successful, and their growth is very, very strong and visible. The country not only services these points excellently, but also recuperates part of the investments in the form of concession payments. And right next to me is one of our best performing actors, the airport of Sofia, Mr. Caballero, and we are very grateful that from next year the government will start receiving concession input from the airport's concession contract. A strategic priority for us is the development of modern, environmentally friendly and convenient rail transport. Our ambition is for rail to become the backbone of the national transport system, an attractive alternative to the car travel. We are supported by the European funds. We are investing into a new generation zero-emission rolling stock to meet the public expectation and support the climate targets. We have contracted a total of 60 EMUs, electric units, which are zero emission trains, and they will start to arrive in Bulgaria starting from April next year until the end of August 27. These hardware investments are complemented by important institutional reforms. As you may have heard that from 2nd of June this year, just a week ago, we launched a broad public consultation on the future rail passenger public service for passengers, and this means in plain words that new private operators of trains will be introduced, and If successful, this procedure will bring at least 2 new players on the market, and as you already know, competition and not the minister is the one who gives better quality and better prices. That is why we look forward to this reform with great expectation. To facilitate this reform, we are preparing a new act, a new law, that is called Law of Public Transport Act. And this law will give the overall framework of how the railways become the preferred backbone of the state and how the state policy is attached to the rails and makes all the rest of the transportation as subsidiary, which means that wherever the train is stopping, in a while a bus will be leaving and not vice versa, and by that eating the client base of the railways. So the state is changing its priority. For more than 30 years it has been vice versa, and most of you here in this room, you have witnessed how the bus transportation has eaten the railways transportation, and that the railways transportation is at the moment, especially the passengers one, is in a very poor condition. We aim to change that, and we aim to change it not like after 10 years, we aim to change it next year, and perhaps within the term of this government, I believe the fruits of the competition will be already visible, but already will be at the disposal of the Bulgarian citizens. Of course, we are accelerating the modernization of the railway infrastructure, both through the funds of the European Union, but also through the concessions procedures in the railway infrastructure sector. We aim to dig at least 2 new tunnels that will be not the tunnels that go high and short ones, but rather long tunnels that will cover 2 destinations from south to north of Bulgaria, in fact giving a possibility to cross the mountain within 30 minutes. At the moment this takes approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes to cross the Stara Planina mountain from one end to the other, just to go from south to North Bulgaria. And this as mileage is not more than 30 kilometers. So imagine 30 kilometers in the curves of the Iskar Gorge takes 1 hour and 45 minutes, but as a straight line it's only 30 kilometers. We cannot continue to hold that. And the second line will be near Troyan, so actually continuation of Troyan to Hristodanovo, another point at the on the railway of southern Bulgaria, and Troyan is in the North Bulgaria, linking it to the main line from Gorno Oryahovice and then Varna, or on the other direction to Sofia. These are our plans, and I hope to see them happening within the term of this government. And basically, sorry if I was talking too much and took much of your time, but thank you very much for your attention.